Colon cancer is the third most common type of cancer in the U.S., but apparently it's entirely preventable with a colonoscopy, which is why some doctors are questioning a new study about colonoscopy benefits. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Erin LeBeau.
I'm Corey Chambers here for Tamsin, and look, having a colonoscopy, not exactly pleasant, but it's necessary to help prevent colorectal cancer. At least that's what we've always been told. But recently, this study has some people wondering if they should have this procedure at all. Joining us now with her thoughts is Dr. Kumkum Patel, a double board certified gastroenterologist. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, well, it's our pleasure. So look, when this study came out, I mean, it rocked a lot of people's minds. I mean, there was huge waves here because essentially the headline, at least, and I understand there's a little bit more to it, but the headline said that offering up essentially these invitations for colonoscopies didn't actually prevent people from dying when they compared a blind test, mind you, when they compared people that had gotten these invitations versus folks that hadn't gotten them, there wasn't any real difference. So explain to us why we shouldn't say, all right, well, forget this tool. We don't need it anymore. Explain to us.
Yeah, so you know what, the most important thing to look at is that this study went head to head and looked at the people who got invited to get a colonoscopy versus those who were not invited. Okay, and this was done in Norway, Sweden, and Poland from 2009 to 2014. And if they looked at the data of those who were invited versus those who were not, there was only a mere 18% reduction. That's what this trial said. But if you look at the actual people who got the colonoscopy, only 42% of the people who got invited actually got a colonoscopy. So of course, if you look at those who actually got the colonoscopy, the incidence of colon cancer actually was reduced by 31%, and the risk of mortality did go down by 50%. So the moral of the story is you have to get a colonoscopy if you want to prevent colon cancer.
Right. All right. So Dr. Patel, why is it important to get a colonoscopy besides the obvious point you pointed out? And when exactly should this happen in your life as far as age is concerned?
Like you said, you know, colonoscopies are really important because they can actually prevent from actually causing colon cancer for the growths that are in there. You can have small polyps. These are precancerous lesions, and if they're left in too long, they can turn into colon cancer. So colonoscopies can actually go in there and we can take out these polyps before they grow. And now the recommendations are that everyone starting at the age of 45 should actually get their colon cancer screening. Back in the day, it used to be 50. Recently, it has dropped to 45. So basically, 45 is your new 50, so remember that.
Okay, so a colonoscopy, it is under this umbrella of a screening tool, right? I know there are other screening tools there that are less invasive. So explain to me why you can't just do a blood test or a stool sample and just be like, all right, you're good or you're not good. Why do you have to, you know, do all of that?
So the colonoscopy is not only diagnostic, as in we can find the polyps and the precancerous lesions, but it's also therapeutic, which means that we can take it out right then and there. Okay, if you do the stool study, so there's something called a FIT test, a fecal immunochemical test, and that actually uses antibodies to see if there's blood in our poop. There's also a stool test that looks for abnormal DNA. You can do those, but if those turn positive, guess what? You're getting a colonoscopy. So instead of getting those every year or every 3 years for the DNA test, you might as well do the colonoscopy, get these polyps removed, and then if you don't have any, you can do one in 10 years, as long as you don't have a family history.
Talk a little bit about that family history. Do the guidelines change if that is in fact the case?
Absolutely. So if you have a family history of colon cancer, you actually have to get your colonoscopy done 10 years prior to the family member's age. So let's say you had a father who was diagnosed for colon cancer at age 45, you are actually due for your colonoscopy at age 35. And then you have to repeat it every 5 years, even if it's normal. Now, if you have a genetic syndrome like Lynch syndrome, you should talk to your doctor because there's a lot of different guidelines because you're predisposed to colon cancer as well as others.
Interesting. Now, I was doom scrolling the other day, right? I'm just, you know, as I do sometimes, I doom scroll and I read articles as I see them. And there's an article talking about, hey, if these things are happening, you know, if you're noticing these changes right now, when you go to the bathroom, you need to see a doctor right away. So is there anything like that we should know for someone who maybe isn't getting a colonoscopy, but something that they should know, they should look for and say, hey, look, maybe I should look at this and not ignore it because it could be colon cancer?
The most important thing I would say is rectal bleeding. So if you have bleeding when you wipe your bottom, that could be a sign that it's more than just hemorrhoids. It
Now,
could be a
is
sign
that
of a
red
problem.
blood or is that like black blood? Because I realize that depending on where you're bleeding from, it would be a different color.
Very good, actually. That's great. So red blood is actually something that means it's coming from somewhere down below. So that's fresh blood. Black blood means that something coming from more up above, so something in the stomach or upper small intestine. So if it's coming more fresh, it'll be red. If it's coming from something more up above, it's likely the stomach or small intestine.
Good to know. Well, doctor, I understand that outside of being a doctor, you are also a motivational speaker and inspiring and empowering women. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this year I had the opportunity with my colleague to have something called the Equity and Levity Summit. It was held this year in Orange County in September, and this was a women's empowerment event that we spent the whole day for women in healthcare. It was meant for professional and personal advancement. And we talked about things like how to prevent burnout, how to get a good contract, what to do as a woman in healthcare, and how to pivot now that the pandemic has come around. For more information, you can actually visit our website, www.equityandlevity.com, and I hope to see all of you there next September 2023.
Love it.
All right, Dr. Patel, thank you so much for speaking with us today. I feel like we all learned a little something.
Yeah.
And for more information on her organization, visit equityandlevity.com. You can also follow Dr. Patel on Instagram at dr.gut_motility.